Okay, we're back. As promised, I was gonna come back after my nap, but it's currently very, very, very hot in here, so I'm gonna stream this for a little bit before I pass out. And as proof, I don't know if you guys can see this, it's currently 89 degrees in my studio room right now, so I'm already sweating bullets. So I'll work for a little bit, then I'll take a break. I will wait till the sun goes down, then I'll come back and I'll do other stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get right back to it. There was a comment on one of the videos over here. I was trying to respond to it, but YouTube's weird when it comes to responding with things, comments on your phone. Comment just disappeared. I'm like, okay, I apologize if I cannot respond to that comment on one of these Umineko videos, but it is what it is. YouTube's weird. So I think what we did was, okay, we were talking about the role of the detective. So let me just read this over again. I know I still have to fix this. My power nap, my old man nap didn't give me enough time to actually read this again, but it's fine. We can just go over it and we'll see how we go. Okay. Ballard doesn't just become a detective because he's certain of the truth. He becomes a detective because it's safer than facing what can't be explained. The game board grants him structure, rules, logic, a battlefield where emotions can be reframed as clues and chaos becomes manageable through reasoning. In a family soaked in tension, death, and chaos becomes manageable through reasoning. In a family soaked in tension, death, and unresolved pain become the irrational outsider. Alright, sorry about that. In a family soaked in tension, death, and unresolved pain, becoming the rational outsider allows Ballard to distance himself intellectually and emotionally. This is the core of his mask, not intellectual superiority, but emotional retreat. By engaging with the witches as metaphors, tricks, or puzzles, he rewrites the nature of the conflict. Pain becomes a riddle, grief becomes a performance, and Beatrice as an opponent becomes an enigma. Sociologist Irving Goffman argued that identity is often a performance such as persona adopted depending on the audience and context. I have to fix that when I actually have the chance to do that. I'll fix that off screen because I need to fact check myself because that's just I know the meaning of it. It's just I could have reworded that a lot better, so we'll fix that later. Ballard's detective is just that, a persona, in a way, a structured role in which he is required not to feel, only think. His logic, his defiant posturing, his refusal to entertain fantasy, these aren't acts of confidence, they're rituals of avoidance. At first, they work. The detective persona creates emotional distance. It turns the horror into mystery, the guilt into misdirection. It lets him move forward without looking inward. But these masks don't erase the face beneath. They only delayed the moment of recognition. Wow, I really am throwing shade at Rosa here. Holy shit. Okay. Again, I'll work for a few minutes because this is getting unbearable. It's so hot in here, and I can't put an AC in here, or else it'll cause a surge because this house is very old, and the wiring did make no sense in this side of the building. I've tried. I had a microwave in the other kitchen over there, and whenever I put the microwave on, it would just knock out the power. A fan probably would work, but not too worried about it. Okay. Okay, what more can we add to this? Okay. Let's give myself at least like 20 minutes worth of work. But longer. More cracks to show. The more he clings to the illusion of order, more cracks begin to show. So each game board becomes more intimate. Each game board. Give me ideas for the next person people want me to do video on. Because we've done Beatrice, we've done Rosa, we're doing Battler now. I'm thinking probably Angie, because Angie's pretty complex herself, but hey, there's a lot of Ushinomiyas. A lot of them. Rudolph and Kirie are... That's a double whammy. That's just... oh my god, that's a train wreck just waiting to happen there. Not more than Rosa. Rosa was the big one. Rosa is just... she's just super unhinged. Each game board becomes more intimate. The mystery grows. Logic begins to falter. 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 It's not solving. It's not solving a puzzle anymore. It's good. I can give an example of this, I guess. Thing that logic cannot hold. He's not solving a puzzle anymore. He's confronted by something that logic can't hold. I can give an analogy, I guess. Yeah, an analogy would work. Again, just apologize for the short stream, at least for now. Like, it's really hot, but I needed to finish this because I took my old man nap earlier and actually slept for a couple hours. It's so fucking hot in here. An analogy. Yeah, oh yeah, that's a word. Collapsed. It's like a building scaffolding over a collapsed house. It may look stable. It might look stable. It might look stable. It might look stable from the outside. Looks stable from the outside. The foundation is already gone. Yeah, this is already gone. Okay, so let's read what I put in so far. The longer he clings to the illusion of order. Always proofread your stuff, people. The longer he clings to the illusion of order, the more the cracks begin to show. Each game board becomes more intimate. The mystery grows less abstract. The mystery grows less abstract. The logic begins to falter. He's not solving a mystery anymore. He's not solving a puzzle anymore. He's confronted by something that logic can't hold. It's like a building scaffolding over a collapsed house. Okay. It may look stable from the outside, but the foundation is already gone. That's a good analogy, I think. And sooner or later, it's gonna collapse. Also, I apologize for that comment. I saw it on my phone. I was tied up with IRL stuff. I clicked on it on my phone, then it just didn't show up. I'm like, YouTube, what the fuck? So I couldn't respond to it. Hey, it is what it is. Structural collapse. Okay, let's read everything from the beginning just to see where it is, because I think we should be able to wrap this up now and get ready to the next section. Balor doesn't just become the detective because he's certain of the truth. He becomes the detective because it's safer than facing what can't be explained. The game board grants him structure, rules, logic, a battlefield where emotions can be reframed as clues and chaos becomes manageable through reasoning. In a family soaked in tension, death, and unresolved pain, becoming the rational outsider allows Balor to distance himself, intellectually and emotionally. This is the core of his mask, not intellectual superiority, but emotional retreat. By engaging with witches as metaphors, tricks, or puzzles, he rewrites the nature of the conflict. Pain becomes a riddle, grief becomes a performance, and Beatrice as an opponent, not appointment, Beatrice as an opponent becomes an enigma. Sociologist Irving Goffman argued that identity is often a performance, such as a persona adopted depending on the audience and the context. Balor's detective is just that, a persona. In a way, a structured role in which he is not required to feel, only think. His logic, his defiant posturing, his refusal to entertain fantasy. These aren't acts of confidence, they're rituals of avoidance. At first, they work. The detective role creates emotional distance. It turns the horror into mystery, the guilt into misdirection. It lets him move forward without looking inward, but masks don't erase the face beneath. They only delay the moment of recognition. The longer he clings to the illusion of order, the more the cracks begin to show. Each game board becomes more intimate. The mystery grows less abstract. Logic begins to falter. He's not solving a puzzle anymore. He's confronted by something that logic can't hold. It's like a building scaffolding over a collapsed house. It may look stable from the outside, but the foundation is already gone, and sooner or later, the structure will collapse. Yeah, that sounds good. Again, I do shade at Rosa, but it is what it is. Like, she's a complex character. So let's get started with a transition area portion in order to go into the next section. And if I remember correctly, section 2 is betrayal, trauma, and defense mechanisms, which will start but not finish because again I'm sweating bullets right now. It's so hot. 89 degrees here. Holy shit. The good thing about my barracks is there is actual AC, and I would have to do the entire rewiring of this whole section of my house in order to get AC in here, and that's something I just don't want to do because I'm not at home. I'm gone 6 months out of the year. Actually, no, I'm gone the whole year. I'm only back like twice a year. So this room just, there's nothing in here. No, there's no one in here. So we can write a transitionary sentence in order to move on to the next section. Okay. It was about survival. In the moments, in the moments, in the moments. Because its detective role was never about truth. It's about survival, and the moment it stops serving its purpose, Battler will be forced to confront what he spent the entire game board trying to avoid. Okay. Alright. So definitely later on, when I'm not dying of heat, I'll come back and I'll fix the Gothman section, because that one definitely needs to be... I kind of half-assed it, but I'll fix it later. Okay. Okay. So section 2 is definitely... I dubbed it betrayal, trauma, and defense mechanism, so give me a second to think. I was wondering what the hell was playing in the background. I've never seen this anime. It's very dark. Extremely dark. But you know, at least it's not etchiness. Okay. Alright. Back to this. So, real trauma and defense mechanism. Real trauma and defense. Damn, I got 6 more days left of this. I got an idea. I think I got something. I think. We'll see. Give me a second. As I said plenty of time, it's the outline's the hardest part, but coming up with ideas for a complex topic. This is complex. It definitely is complex. It's just as hard. All right, we'll go with this, and if I don't like it, I'll just change it later. You know what? Let me change the music. Let me do things on a fresh perspective as I proceed to get trolled. As long as it's not Monster Girl Quest again. Goddamn, I was actually really pissed off about that. Raya Lucaria. Oh, how appropriate. Okay, Raya Lucaria. Yeah, let's Elden Ring. At this moment, this is where you get sniped by the Hogwarts mages from like 50 miles away. All right. If the detective persona is the scaffolding, then what lies beneath? So if the detective persona is scaffolding, then what lies beneath it is fractured, unsteady terrain shaped by betrayal and loss. So Battler's relentless. Putting that in quotation marks for now. I gotta definitely fix that later. If the detective persona is the scaffolding, then what lies beneath it is fractured, unsteady terrain shape. Hold on. Yeah, that's fine. If the detective persona is the scaffolding, then what lies beneath it is fractured, unsteady terrain shaped by betrayal and loss. Balor's relentless denial of witches, his refusal to engage with Beatrice on her terms, isn't just stubbornness. Because I mentioned betrayal trauma, which I have to go into detail about, but how should I go into this? Because, well, first of all, his denial of the witches, refusal to go with Beatrice in her terms. It's the defense mechanism, psychological defense mechanism. Yeah. Okay. The psychological defense mechanism. No, it's just a psychological defense, actually. Okay, this can lead to betrayal trauma then. Yeah, okay. This is fine. This one rooted in something more universal than fantasy. After this, I'm gonna touch base with my psychologist buddy. I'm gonna run some ideas by him. Then he'll probably tell me, "Hey, you be doing one on Angie." And I was like, "No, god damn it, Angie's funny." So what betrayal trauma is? Long story short, betrayal trauma is when someone that we know and trust betrays us so profoundly that our event blocks it out. Our brain blocks out the event. Sorry. Our brain blocks out the event. Okay. Betrayal trauma is when someone we trust betrays us so profoundly that the brain blocks out the event. So Damn. All everything leads back into Rosa. Sorry, excuse me. Hiccups. Everything leads back into Rosa. Holy shit. If the detective persona is the scaffolding, then what lies beneath it is fractured, unsteady terrain shaped by betrayal and loss. Battler's relentless denial of witches, just refuses to engage with Beatrice on her terms, isn't just stubbornness. It's a psychological defense, one rooted in something more universal than fantasy. Proofread your stuff. Betrayal trauma. Betrayal trauma is when someone we trust betrays us so profoundly that our brain blocks out the event, not because it mattered, but because it mattered too much. So, gotta give examples of this. So, where? The Battler mirrors this because if I can actually spell. Battler mirrors this because dissociation. Yeah. As usual. Just give me a minute. Okay, wow. Yeah, that one was a doozy. I had to really, like, come up with ideas with that one. So... I did not spell that right. Actually... Because the blue truth is used as reinforcement. Hear me out on this one. I know I'm giving another analogy, but I'm doing this for a reason. Because each logical deduction can be seen as a reinforcement over a collapsing house. Because by rejecting magic, he doesn't have to ask who represents it. He doesn't have to ask who represents it. But rejecting magic, he doesn't have to ask who represents it, because by solving murders like puzzles, he doesn't have to feel them as grief. Okay. If the detective persona is the scaffolding, what lies beneath it is fractured, unsteady terrain shaped by betrayal and loss. Battler's relentless denial of witches, his refusal to engage with Beatrice on her terms, isn't just stubbornness. It's a psychological defense, one rooted in something more universal than fantasy: betrayal trauma. Betrayal trauma is when someone we trust betrays us so profoundly that our brain blocks out the event, not because it mattered, but because it mattered too much. Battler mirrors this because he's not only fighting for the truth, but to keep it buried. Denial, repression, and dissociation aren't just clinical terms. They're tactics the human mind uses to avoid being overwhelmed. In Battler's case, they become integral to his internal game board. Each blue truth is reinforcement. Each logical deduction can be seen as reinforcement over a collapsing house. By rejecting magic, he doesn't have to ask who represents it. By solving murders like puzzles, he doesn't have to feel them as grief. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Okay, holy shit. Okay. Since I am literally about to pass out and I'm sweating bullets right now, let's wrap this up. Tomorrow I'll do more Battler stuff, but we got a good foundation for the betrayal trauma section. So we've done the role of the detective. Now we're on betrayal and trauma. We'll finish that section up tomorrow and move on to the next section. This is making good, steady pacing and headway. We're getting there, little by little. So good stuff. I'll see people tomorrow for more Umineko lore. Besides that, have a good one. See y'all later.